Hello, it is LFC Transfer Room. My name is Transfer Central. Today joining me is Damon and Jay. I'll start with you, Damon. How are you?
I'm good, mate. I'm good. Good win last night. Invested a lot of players. Just hope for Sunday now.
Yeah, exactly that. And Jay, how are you, mate?
All good, lad. We took it to the final game, which is what we wanted, and rested most of our key players. So yeah, mate up.
Yeah, the kids, say kids because there was Elliot Jones, Canate still only young as well. Basically the second string started yesterday. I know Gomez had to go off for Hendo, but it was a good performance, really, wasn't it? We'll touch on it before we go into transfers. It was a good performance, wasn't it, Jay? I think Curtis Jones played well. I think Harvey Elliott looked really bright, and we just done what was needed, didn't we?
Did mate? Yeah, everyone looked sharp. The positive as well is Gomez's injury doesn't look like it was anything serious, because when it happened at first, it looked like it was going to be another bad one for him, which is the last thing he needs. But yeah, mate, I mean, I think everyone who come in done well, to be honest. And even when Enzo come on, he has a good influence as well. So you've got to be happy, mate. Like I say, go to the last game now.
What did you think of the performance, Damon? Happy with
Quite
the result?
mature, wasn't it? Quite mature to say we had such a young team out and such an inexperienced team, because they've been playing this season. The way they dominated the match was just brilliant, really. I expected us to beat them, but it was just dominance from them throughout, even though it went 1-0 down. That takes a lot of mentality. It just shows that mentality is all the way through the squad and not just the first team, which is fantastic.
Yeah, and before we go into transfers, we've got Ayush, Jen, everyone's here. If you are new round here, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe on the video. It does help us out a lot. It may seem stupid, but it does go a long way. But starting with Fabio Vieira, the Mirror has reported that Liverpool got first refusal on the Porto midfielder for 12.7 million, which is his release clause. Since then, there has been conflicting reports which have suggested this clause does not exist, and it's actually 42.3 million. Do you think that that's a good price, 42.3 million for Fabio Vieira? Have you seen enough of him, Jay, to suggest you'd pay that? Or was the 12.7 million probably the best you'd probably pay for someone like him?
I've seen bits of him. I haven't seen lots of them. We've been linked with them for a few years, though. I think it's our time last year, the rumour, but the year before, I think we were linked with them quite a bit. I think 40 is a bit high for him. He's not the star player at Porto. We got Diaz for, I know we can rise to 60 odds, but it was 37 initially. So I don't think they can bang about 40 odd million for a kid that obviously isn't at the same level as Diaz. So I think if we are going to go for him, that'd be a good starting point to negotiate with, to say, look, we took your best player for 37. This kid isn't that level, so we wouldn't be paying that amount for him.
Yeah, Damon, he scored 6 goals, 11 assists in 27 games for Porto this year. Obviously, they have played against us. What would you make of him? Do you agree with Jay, or would you be prepared to pay this non-existent release clause? So it's going to be about 42, 43 million.
I think he's a tidy player, but 40 million is a bit extreme. I think because we pulled the pants down with Diaz, I think they might want a bit more money back, because he's been unbelievable since January. So would I pay 40 million? If it meant him and Diaz were 77 together, then probably. But 40 million on his own, then no, because I think there's better players out there for 40 million.
But have we had the pants down, really, Jay, with Luis Diaz? Like, they knew he was a special player. He was their highest goal scorer. And obviously, Liverpool, when you play with better players, you're a better player yourself. And that's just, everyone knows that. So do you think that that would factor into any deal with Porto, that they would think, well, Luis Diaz is now probably £100 million player, we could have charged you that?
I think it does happen with teams sometimes that if they sell a player and they've done really well, if the same club comes back for another player, you're sort of trying to make up for what you think you could have got eventually for the first player you've sold. I actually think Diaz is probably a better player for us than he already was for Porto. There's just something about the way we play that just suits the lad to a T. Don't get me wrong, obviously he was impressive at Porto, but I don't know, the way I watched him a few times at Porto and he never stuck out to me. Whereas at Liverpool now, nearly every game you're thinking he's the standout player. So yeah, I imagine they will want to recoup a bit of money. I don't think we've had the pants down as such, because it can go up, I think, to 65 million or something like that, which, I mean, to be fair, he does seem like he's worth more than that the way he's playing at the minute, but I wouldn't say that's an Abby pants down deal, 60 mil. We only spent 30 on Salah, we spent 30 on Mane, so probably fair if we pay the full whack.
Damon, he only played twice in the Champions League this year and got 1 assist. Obviously, he is only 21, 22 on the 30th of May. Do you think this is Julian Ward picking up where Michael Edwards is leaving off in terms of getting first refusals on exciting players coming through from the likes of Porto and places like that?
Well, I think he could have been a Michael Edwards player as well, because, like you said, we've been linked with him for 4 years now, so we've been following him for quite a while. Getting first refusal is perfect, because at the end of the day, if you get your business done early, no one else can come in for him. The reason why I've just been speaking to a Man United fan about the Frankie de Jong situation. If you made the move early and got it done early, Man City won't be able to come in. And that's what you need to be doing these days, because you've got pre-season to train for. You've got, especially Jurgen Klopp. Jurgen Klopp pre-season is as hard as it comes. So you need to be fit for that season starting in August again. It starts a bit early this year, doesn't it, as well, because of World Cup. Yeah. So we need to get the business done. So, but it's hard with Fabio Vieira, because he's only 21, and like you said, he hasn't played enough in the Champions League to really experience that sort of high quality games. But I trust our scouts more than anyone.
Do you reckon this, Jay, could be someone Liverpool are maybe looking at his stats and maybe trying to mould him into a right winger as more or less a Salah replacement, because he has got pace behind him? I'm not saying Salah's going to leave. I just mean one for the future in that aspect.
Potentially, yeah. I think he's just trying to add creativity, because that's sometimes where we struggle when teams play a low block. We've only really got Thiago that can unlock you with that pass, unless it's a bit of magic from one of the front three. And Carvalho falls in that bracket as well. You know, players who can just make a little bit of skill, little magic pass, see something that other players don't see. So I think Klopp likes players who are versatile. And if you look at most of the players we've signed, Jota, Mane, Salah go through the middle sometimes, obviously. They can all switch about a little bit. So I think that's the type of player Klopp likes, a bit of versatility.
Damon, I'll put this one on you. He is left-footed. We have strengthened the left side quite heavily in the past few windows with Jota and Diaz, etc. Could you think that Fabio Vieira to Liverpool is a realistic sign, and can you see it happening?
Well, Salah's left-footed, so like Jay said, it could be looking to a Salah replacement rather than anywhere else on the pitch. But he could play any position, like Jay said again. That's what we need. We need players that can play any position. That's why we're signing players like Jota and things like that. They can play up front, they can play at left wing. It's perfect. They suit Klopp down to the ground, those sort of players. So I wouldn't argue against it.
Like Adam says there, we have just signed Carvalho from Fulham, like you mentioned, Jay, as well. So would you say that we are potentially looking at Vieira if we've already signed someone who's regarded as a wonder kid and Portuguese in that position?
When I seen the report, to be honest, I was a bit surprised. When I seen it was 12 million, I thought, well, yeah, no brainer, young kid, looks a prospect. That sounds, he might not even play straight away and get a loan. But then when I seen the conflicting report about no, the release clause was 40 mil, I thought it was a bit of a non-starter, to be honest, because I don't think where he plays is where we need to strengthen most. I think central midfield is. And like he's just said, we have signed Carvalho, who is a very similar player, to be fair. And Harvey Elliott still trying to emerge through, and Curtis Jones. They're all sort of similar creative midfielders. And I don't think that's properly what we need compared to other areas of the pitch.
Moving on to Sadio Mane then. If I keep looking down, it's because Louise sent me all notes coming in clutch. Christian Falk says PSG are favourites to sign if he does not extend his contract. This may be a reason for the stolen contract talks, as he is awaiting a bid from the French club. Do you think this is dependent on the Mbappe deal, Jay? Is he looked at maybe as Mbappe's replacement by PSG?
Apparently PSG are trying to just do a proper overhaul now. I think they know having glamour players doesn't win you nothing. Neymar won't run, Messi won't run. Di Maria's older now and he's leaving as well. So I think Pochettino's like convinced the board like we need players who will actually put a shift in. And Mane is one of them players that's world class and puts a shift in. So it would make sense that that's what they want to do. But I don't think that it's got anything to do with the contract talks because from what I've heard, we were never going to start till the end of the season anyway. So I don't know. It might be his agent trying to get more money from Liverpool. But if it's true that PSG want to go down that route, then Mane would be your perfect signing for Paris.
What do you think about these reports, Damon? Christian Falk, very reliable. Mbappe does look like he's leaving PSG. That is to Real Madrid by the looks of it. He is a perfect, probably Mbappe replacement where he plays in that PSG side, and like Jay said, he puts a shift in. What do you make of it?
I think it's his age that if our PSG will be put off because they seem to be just buying like all the players and they're not really focusing on the project as such. They're buying players now for the now rather than for the later. I think that's where they've gone wrong in the past. Neymar was a good one and Mbappe was a good one, but other than that, they bought like all the players, Di Maria, Messi. You need those sort of players anyway, but especially in attack, you need to start focusing on your future. Those sort of players like midfielders, defenders to bring that experience, a bit like when we bought James Milner, and that experience he's given us throughout the team is fantastic. They need to do that in the midfield, but I think attack, you need to start really looking at your future, and especially if Mbappe is going, Mane is not going to replace Mbappe in terms of the next 5-10 years. That's what Mbappe's got left in him. Mane hasn't. He's got 1 year. If they want to fight for that Champions League, they need the project, and I don't think Mane is a right buy for that sort of thing, really.
I think the thing with PSG is though, they don't have to sort of plan for the future because if it doesn't work, they just throw more money at it next year. That's what PSG do. So,
but then it's a cycle, isn't it? It's still not working, so they're gonna have to change something at some point.
Do you not think though that
it is, yeah.
You'd buy Sadio Mane for the pure basis of trying to win that Champions League?
Yeah, that's what I mean. It's the profile of the player. So like when Ferguson signed Van Persie was 29, 30, but he knew he was going to bang him 25 goals and win in the league, which he did. Mane, if they're trying to get it now where they want to win the Champions League this season, they're going to need players that don't do what Neymar and Messi do, which is just walk around the pitch. It is honestly like having two less players sometimes. So if you want players with work rate that can make an immediate impact, Mane is exactly the type of player that you want to be looking at. Any of our front line would be, to be fair.
Do you not think though if he spoke to Genie would tell him like how bad his experience has been there? Like we spoke to a Leeds journalist, not comparing Liverpool to Leeds. We spoke to a Leeds journalist a few months ago, and he said that any player coming out of the Leeds squad would struggle anywhere else because they're built for the system that Leeds play in. So do you not think that players in Liverpool are built for our system, and maybe if they did go elsewhere, they wouldn't perform as well? Like, could you see Mane getting as many goals and assists, Damon, in for PSG? Like we've seen Messi go from banging them in to not banging them in France.
I think Mane would in the league. Definitely, I think he'd bit that league up, if I'm honest. But it's a Champions League. Like I said, I think they need to start focusing on the. They're not going to win the Champions League replacing Mbappe for Mane. It's not going to happen. So I think it's the wrong move for PSG. I don't know if that's me just being a Liverpool fan wanting to keep Mane, but I just feel like it's the wrong move. I do. I don't feel like it's the right move.
Well, this Jay, don't you think they'd prefer if one of them was if Salah doesn't sign his contract and does look like he'll go? Does that then wouldn't they want Salah instead of Mane, or like they said here, imagine they both left? Do you reckon that's possible?
I don't think PSG could sign both of them now. But yeah, Salah fits the profile the same way in which Mane does. I think the only difference would be maybe they're not going for Salah is if Messi stays, he plays on that side sometimes. So how are you going to fit them all in? Which it's like that every season for PSG. But either of them are fit. If what's meant to have been said that they don't want the glamour players no more. They want players who work hard because that's the only way you're going to win big trophies. Salah and Mane are them type of players that you want that will run yards, and are world class. It's hard to find players that are both.
There's rumours Messi's going to into Miami, isn't he, and getting like shares in the club, and that was part of his deal.
I don't know. I seen Laporte the other day. Laporte saying he'd be interested in taking Messi back, but I think they need to just stay well away from it.
Yeah, he's too much in his wage, isn't it?
It's probably a good idea that, into Miami, because if he takes shares in it, then that's just it's setting him up for after football, isn't it? Really, that's a good idea. That I think.
Partnering with that. But yeah, Damon, would you say Mane would leave on good terms if he did go to PSG?
Yeah. I think he would leave if he went to PSG. He would be leaving for money, which would annoy a few Liverpool fans. But I think what he's done, I can't see him taking an injury like Coutinho. So what he's done, I think, he would leave on good terms. He's done enough to sort of get away with that sort of leaving for money sort of thing.
Would you be happy with him going, Jay? Do you think it matters if he leaves on good terms? Like, how much would, if he was to go this summer, how detrimental is that to Liverpool's charge in all 4 competitions next year?
I've got to be honest, mate. These days, I don't worry about players leaving no more. I just fully trust Klopp to replace players. Like, I remember when we sold Suarez, I thought we will never ever see a player bang goals like Suarez. And don't get me wrong, I still think in a one season, I don't think I've ever seen a better performance from a player for a season for that year. But we replaced Torres, we replaced Salah. Replaced Suarez. And if we do sell Salah or Mane, mate, I do think we'll replace them. I don't want them to go, but it wouldn't be the end of us if we did.
Well, look what happened when we sold Coutinho. We were just panicking, weren't we? We were like, oh my,
I can see what Jay means, though, in terms of goal scorers, because you think about it in Liverpool's history, we've always had a goal scorer. Yeah, we had that little bit of a rough patch with the Andy Carroll and stuff like that, or Benteke and stuff, but we had like Fowler, Torres, Suarez, and then now it's Salah, Owen. Like we've just always had a goal scorer. So
Sturridge.
Yeah, Sturridge, unbelievable. Just injuries ruined him, didn't he? Towards the end, he was
shame.
Special, but yeah, Liverpool have also reportedly made a transfer approach for Ajax's Antony and his interest from Man United. I know that's there because obviously Eric and Hardy rate him very highly. The fee is around 42 and 52 million pound. It would depend on Salah or Mane leaving, because I think that would probably pay most of the fee. Jay, what would you go in for him? He does look exciting. 42 to 52 million. If Mane went to PSG, you could probably get about 30 for him if we've just won everything. And he has obviously won the African Cup of Nations and stuff as well. So you're only really paying about 12 million for him. And now in Liverpool, you'd probably give them a Freddo and then balance the other payments out for 10 years. So would you go in for it? It'd be good if we got him off Monday United's nose, wouldn't it?
As long as it weren't a caramel Freddo. Yeah, mate, I'd like to do it just to wind United up, to be honest. No, he looks a top player, but I like Nkunku. And I don't think, to be honest, I know we're all talking about the new contract situations. I think if one signs and 2 others don't, I don't think they leave next season. I just think they go on a free. So I actually don't think we'll bring an attacker in this year, to be honest. I think what we've got now will be the same next year. I know Origi's leaving, but he doesn't really need replacing. It's very rare that he gets a game. So what are you replacing? The odd substitute appearance once every 5 games. You're not going to pay big money to do that. So I think regardless of the contract situation, they all stay next season, and 1 or 2 of them might go on a free anyway. So I don't see Antony or Nkunku or anyone else like that signing, to be honest.
What about you, Damon? Do you think he's good enough to come in and replace either of them, or do you think, like what Jay said, the current attack stays there and he still comes in and maybe learns from Salah for a year?
That'd be best. Yeah, I think that would be best for Antony. I think he's good enough to not replace Salah now, but good enough in the future. I think he's the one that I'd be looking at in terms of the right wing, because I think I did a top 10 back in December. Top 10 players I would like to buy. I think I put him in there. Antony is such an exciting player. Yeah. His goals, assists. He's got a final third in him. And some players, some wingers don't have that. Some players can take it on and then they've got a cross and a shot that's terrible. But this guy's got everything. So I would be taking Antony. Would I take him for that much now? I think we're good at getting the price down. So I trust Julian Ward to get the job done if we was going for him. And it would be nice to have him on bench instead of my United's first team. So
would you agree with Sammy or Jay that you're probably ruin his career if he went to United. They are in a bit of a transition. But I do think Erik ten Hag does have pull. I would say, do you think he would more likely join United because of Erik ten Hag? I know people may say ruin his career in that, but it's a manager he's got continuity with then.
It's hard to say he'd be ruining his career. Prior to Ten Hag, yeah, I'd say you are. Like Sancho, there's just something toxic at United, mate, that they don't sign players the coach wants. They sign players that'll sell shirts or look good on adverts and things like that. And that's half United's problem, if not most of it. Obviously, with Ten Hag coming in, if they start signing players that he actually wants that fit his system, then no, it could be a massive success, and he could be one of the players who gets them back to that level of challenging at the top again. He does look like he's got that ability, but it's a massive job still for Ten Hag. Like it remains to be seen what power he is actually given. Who goes? Who he can? I mean, if you read in the press now, it's basically going to be Ajax United next season because he's signing half of Ajax. So remains to be seen. I really like Ten Hag as a coach, and I do think he'll do a better job than everyone else. But I think it'll take him a while before they're at that level that they want to be at.
Do you think for that reason that Damon and that Antony, the Antony to United stuff may just be paper talk, because they've even been linked with De Ligt, De Jong, everyone who left Ajax who done decent in the Champions League every year, he's been linked to every one of them. Every one of the current Ajax squad. I think it's the Dutch press thinking that Ajax are invincible, really linking them to everyone. But or do you think he's more or less nailed on to go to United?
No, I don't think he's not nailed on to go to United. I just think that Erik ten Hag factor is a big factor because we couldn't, when Klopp came in, he was that sort of manager that just could just attract the players, and the way he spoke to me, he got Van Dijk over Man City, even though Man City were a better team than us back then before Van Dijk. So I think Erik ten Hag coming in, I think it's a game changer for United. I do. If Klopp were to go, I think I wanted him to replace Klopp in the end, but that's too late now, and it ain't gonna unless he wants to switch sides. But so I think he's going to play a big factor, is Erik ten Hag, in terms of attracting the right players. Yeah, they haven't got Champions League, but they're still Man United. As much as we hate to say, they're one of the biggest clubs in the world, and with a best manager now, it makes a big difference. Ole Gunnar Solskjaer talking to you down the phone, that's completely different to Erik ten Hag talking to you down the phone.
Do you think though, because Ole Gunnar Solskjaer is probably a lot more decorated than as a person?
He probably gives them flowers, doesn't he? But that's about it.
True. Don't know why this one's been recycled, but it's been mentioned to be put in. Liverpool apparently the third club to be trying to sign Mbappe, with Klopp remarks. I knew these were just going to stir up all the rumours again when he got asked, the other day. But he said, of course, we're interested in Mbappe. We're not blind. And when asked if we had made contact, he said it's all set, it's all fine. What do you make of that? Jay, is that it's all set, it's all fine, he's off to Madrid, or is that Klopp basically saying, hold on, Reg, you're getting Mbappe?
Imagine it. Scenes. No, I think what it sounds like, we'd be foolish to not ask the question when he hasn't got a contract in place to say, what are the numbers involved? I think the likelihood is Mbappe and Vazas have come back and said, blank check, whoever's the highest bidder, or mad numbers that he's meant to be getting at Real Madrid. I think it's 100 million signing on fee, which he's not a free anymore then, is he? Do you know what I mean? Then I think he's on like over $1 million a week. So I reckon we've probably asked the question, which he made a similar remark to Haaland when he said the numbers are crazy. So we obviously knew what the numbers were. So it is good to know that we are asking the question, but obviously they're coming back with staggering figures that we want to play no part in, which I'd love to have him back, but I don't want us to do what's happened to the likes of Inter Milan and Barcelona, where they're literally starting from the foundations again. So doing what we're doing's work so far. I'm happy to keep doing it that way.
Why do you think these rumours keep resurfacing, Damon? Do you think there is any truth in them? I do believe, like what Jay said, we have asked the question about everyone. I think we're a big enough club to be asking that question, but just that it's all set, it's all fine.
I think it's because we've spoken to him before as well. We spoke to him before he went to PSG, didn't we?
Tchouameni had him on his private jet.
That's what I'm saying. So there's always going to be links there, no matter what. Even if he goes to Real Madrid, I still think there'll be links in 5 years' time to Liverpool if he's still at Real Madrid, and Real Madrid are becoming the team that they're supposed to be. So I think there's always going to be links there. I think if we've got get Mbappe, then Salah and Mane is gone. We're not going to get Mbappe. You know what we should do? We should send him a little link and say, you can visit Anfield today. You know them day visits you can buy. Send him one of them and just let him come and visit. I think he'd change his mind. I don't think numbers are involved. A day
he knows his mates as well, isn't he?
Yeah, he's got quite a few mates within the squad, and
yeah,
there's the LeBron James link as well.
There's always links there to having movement to us, I think. But yeah, if Klopp speaks to him, I just love Klopp to speak to him.
Yeah,
it'd be stupid him not trying at least, even if they are still numbers. It's just at least try.
Do you know why it'd be a shame as well? Because obviously in La Liga you had Ronaldo, Messi for years. That's the rivalry. Now Ireland's gone to City. Imagine what that does for the league. Mbappe at Liverpool, Ireland at City. You're talking like 3 or 4 years of just pure unbelievable entertainment. Do you know what I mean? So I've spoken to Matty about it before on this thing. It makes complete sense to do it, but I don't think we will. But it'd be amazing. It'd be unreal.
It would be Ronaldo Messi 2.0, wouldn't it?
Yeah, of course. That's the next generation of it, isn't it?
As well, doesn't it? You get them for free, even if it's £100 million sign on fee. You can probably sell them to Real Madrid in 2-3 years for 200 odd million.
Exactly, mate.
It makes. Would you think, Damon, that Liverpool would ever make a superstar signing of this size? Or I firmly believe we make superstars ourselves. We don't buy them. But do you think Liverpool would ever make that statement signing?
You're asking the wrong guy there. In terms of FSG, would FSG sign a superstar like that for?
James makes a good point here, though. Nike promised us a Nike athlete.
Yeah, they did, but FSG has promised us a big summer, and I'm not open on that. So let's just see. I don't think they would. No, I don't think they would.
Do you reckon they would, Jay? Do you reckon they'd just be like a big middle finger to all the fans who've doubted them? I mean, I firmly have doubted them. Do you think they would ever do it?
I have myself, to be honest, mate. I always have this little stupid feeling at the bottom of me, though, where one day just comes up on Sky News like, oh, Liverpool have signed him back on the sly. And like, I know that that's deluded, but I still like to imagine it in my head sometimes. So until he officially goes to Real Madrid, I'll always have this little 2% or a little thing on my shoulder saying, yeah, it might happen. But realistically, mate, no, I don't see it.
What would it be his appeal, bar the fact, I know he's a childhood Real Madrid fan, but what's the appeal to the Liga at the minute? There's nothing there.
I've always thought that.
Done. That's about it.
And because they probably grew up.
Not really. They're in Champions League final, though, aren't they? So let's not get too carried away. Jinx ourselves.
Do you know the stupid thing about the Real Madrid, though, in the Champions League? The first 5 they won, there was barely any teams in it. Like, technically, them first 5 Champions Leagues they won shouldn't even count towards nothing. It weren't the European. Well, it was the European Cup, but there was only a handful of teams in it that could have won it anyway. So it's a bit daft, to be honest, but that must be the law of seeing the 13 Champions Leagues around the museum or whatever. 6 looks good, so 13 must look brilliant.
Was it this year or last year they played Sheriff Champions League?
This year. Like James has said here, though, Nike will have a huge say in deals like this. Like it's happened with Pogba, it's happened with someone else as well. I can't remember who it was, but we spoke about it on a stream a while back. Do you not think that they'd have more influence in putting them to Liverpool with the Nike?
I don't know. It's like Klopp wears Adidas trainees, doesn't he? And we're sponsored by Nike, so I don't think it's as big a deal as people make out. I think the one you're on about as well, I'm sure Ronaldinho couldn't go to Real Madrid because of something to do with Nike and Adidas back in the day. And I think Real Madrid said because he didn't look like a Galactico, because obviously he's not a 10 out of 10 looking, but apparently that's why they didn't go for him. But if Klopp can wear Adidas Trabs and the rest of his gears Nike, I don't think that's a massive issue.
Yeah, he's just a kid sponsors play a huge role where athletes go. I mean, it's got a good point, and I have heard of it before and stuff, but I just feel like it's basically done in it, Damon, to Madrid now, and I can't wait for it to be done, as sad as it is, because then it'll stop getting talked about.
Yeah,
it reminds me of this title race. Like we sort of think that it's done, but all of a sudden, last game of the season, last day transfer window, boom, we're living in hope again, having an expectation. It is exactly like a start race.
Before we move on to the Tchouameni news, which I know everyone's here for, Louis sent me something last minute about an article coming out of the Mirror. Take that what you will, with a potential swap deal on the cards this year with Jarrod Bowen coming to Liverpool from West Ham and the Ox going the other way. If that happens, is that what the Ox for Jarrod Bowen? Jay, come on, unbelievable business, innit?
Mate, I'd be glad to see the back of Edwards if that's what War can do. Oxley for Bowen, yeah, mate, I'd be all over that. But surely West Ham can't be that stupid. Not a chance. Surely Bowen's arguably their best player, except for Declan Rice. I know they absolutely love Rice down there. But to get Ox, you can barely get on our bench for their second best player. It'd be an amazing deal for us, but I don't think West Ham fans would be too happy.
Just about to do an article on it, Damon. Is it doable?
Plus money, probably, yeah. A straight swap, I cannot see that happening. Come on.
Oh, no chance, surely not.
And I thought, Bowen for Ox.
How much money, though, are we talking if we're giving them the Ox as well? Because I'd probably only value the Ox now myself at about a £12 million player just because he's English. He's barely played.
Got to be at least 40, 50 million on top, at least.
So you think you're basically just paying what you pay for him anyway? I reckon you could send
yeah.
With that anyway.
Plus, it gets Ox off the wages, doesn't it? That's the only thing.
It's a place homegrown with homegrown, really, isn't it?
Mm-hmm. It makes sense for us, but West Ham. I'd like to speak to a West Ham fan about that and see what they say about that.
I don't think you get a word to him, mate. He'd be screaming.
Blank water.
And finally, we'll move on to the Tchouameni big news. He's Liverpool's top priority this summer, costing an estimated £59 million. Jay, is this the correct priority for this summer? You touched on it before. It's a midfielder who can pretty much play anywhere. When I've had a look at him, he's played on the left wing before. He's played cam. He's played centre mid. Played holding midfielder. Very versatile.
100%, it should be the priority, mate. I love Thiago. I love Fabio. But our midfield's very injury prone and it's old. Henderson's obviously played a lot this season, but I think this is the first season he hasn't had a couple of knocks. Kate is out constantly. Oxlade-Chamberlain picks up knocks even though he doesn't play. And even Fabio can pick up knocks. And Thiago's had a few. So there isn't really anyone in that midfield that's 100% reliable for being fit all the time. And obviously with Henderson being 31, Milner's 37. Fabinho's like 29 now, I think, as well. So he's not the youngest. That's definitely the area we need freshening up. Up top, it's hard to pick your best three. So I don't think that should be a priority. Centre halves, everyone's always arguing who should be playing between Konate and Matip. Don't think that needs touching. Tsimikas, Robbo left back. Maybe need a right back, but it looks like we're getting the kid from Aberdeen. So for me, the centre of the park, mate, is absolutely 100% where we should be focusing everything on.
Have you seen much of Tchouameni, Damon? £59 million. It's probably not going to be that up front. So I'd imagine it's probably, if he's on a, what is he getting, a 6 year deal, something like that. So the payments will be spread across them years, like we've seen so often with Liverpool signings. So it'll probably work out about 15 million a year, won't it?
Is so good at what he does. I mean, is perfect for Klopp. Absolutely perfect for Klopp. The fact that he could play DM, attacking mid, like Jay said, on the left, that is exactly the kind of player we need at 60 million. Why are we not biting the hand off? And these FSG minions had a go at me the other day for writing an article and say it's true though. If we don't make this deal happen, £16 million over 5-6 years, 10 million a year, then I'm sorry, but they deserve scrutiny for it, because there's tight and then there's just no, there's tight and then there's that. That's just ridiculous. I understand they look after the money and things like that. They've done absolutely amazing business finances at this club. Unbelievable what they've done to this club. We couldn't thank them enough. And I'm not FSG out. That's the thing. People think I'm FSG out, but I'm actually not. I just want an ambitious owner. And if we had an ambitious owner last season and the season before that, we could have more than one league title to his name. But we don't. And that's why people say to me, "No,
I think that's just like money's oligarch backed state clubs like Newcastle now and City. I just think it's very, very hard to compete with them because they've
yeah.
an unlimited budget.
We don't have that budget, and I don't expect that budget. And we're not asking for Haaland 100 million. We're not asking for Mbappe 100 million. We're not asking for the next superstar 100 million, like City do. We're not asking for that. We're asking for when Klopp needs that support, give him that support. He has done wonders with this squad, absolute wonders. If it weren't for him and his coaches, we wouldn't be nowhere near league titles because they've turned them into world class players.
Jay, do you think what other midfielder outgoings do you think? Do you think Milner will stay? And obviously, the Ox will probably go. Tahi, if you want to throw him in that bracket, probably potentially going to leave. Do you think Tchouameni's coming in at 59 million to start, or do you think he's going to be pretty much like Canate? He is one of Canate's good friends as well, which I do think will play a factor in him coming here. Do you think he'll maybe have a Canate type role in the squad next year where it's just every other game, really? Maybe with Hendo, because Hendo probably can't play every game next season.
Oh yeah, that's half me thinking. I don't know if he'll come straight in and be a starter every week, but I think by January that'd definitely be the intention. I think it's more to phase Henderson out into what Milner's doing. Joyce came out the other day and said Milner hasn't fully decided what he wants to do yet, whether he wants game time or to stay another season. And to be honest, I think if City slip up Sunday, we win the league and the Champions League. If I was Milner, I'd probably go. You've won everything. Go and play footy for your last year or 2 years. Go and enjoy your last season or two. Give that role to Henderson. And hopefully, Tchouameni can come in and then be a focal part of the midfield with Thiago and Fabinho.
What about you, Damon? Would you agree on that? Do you think that plays a factor? Milner famously said he came to Liverpool to win the Champions League, so go out on a high when you've won two.
I love Milner, absolute legend of the club. He hasn't done much as in game time, but he is a legend of the club in terms of what he has done. But if we keep him and not get Tchouameni because of keeping him, then that is ridiculous. I'm sorry, that's ridiculous. We don't need sentimentality. You spoke about Van Persie earlier. There was no sentimentality with Wout van Nistelrooy. They got him out. But then they got Van Persie in, and look what he did to him. He won him a league title by himself practically that season. We need to get rid of this sentimentality. I love Milner. If he signs a new deal, and we get Tchouameni, I'll be happy with that. But if it means losing Tchouameni to keep Milner, I'm sorry, but that's not good enough.
Nah, I think Tchouameni will come in regardless of Jay London or not. I think this is someone we've looked at for years. I mean, he's the right age, really. He's 22, young, French, and he does look the part, and he's versatile. I think that's the most important with Liverpool signs, that he can play holding, attacking on the wings if need be. Just because of that injury crisis, I think we want to cover it with all aspects. But Jay, who would you think? Who else is going from that midfield? Do you think many will leave, or do you think it's more about bringing people into the game from the likes of Thiago and Henderson, etc.?
I think Ox is definitely off. If he doesn't question his own ambition anyway, like, well, why do you want to be here if you can't even get on the bench?
The new Lingard,
the new Barini. I remember we couldn't get rid of Barini for years.
Still here?
Who?
Loris Karius, he's still here?
Yeah, and Shea Ojo. Ojo's due a testimonial. He's been here since he was about 10. I think Oxford's defo gone, mate. I think there's a question with Naby Keita because it's hard to decide whether he's warranted a new contract, because some games you watch him and you think he's brilliant, like you couldn't leave him out, and then a game later the game just completely passes him by. He looks too slow, too weak. So I don't know. It's hard to commit to giving him a 5-year deal when he's not that fit either. So
Would you give a new deal on maybe the same wages?
He's on a good wage though, isn't he? He's not on a small wage, I don't think. I think he's on a high wage anyway.
130, if I'm not mistaken, something like that.
Yes, he's one of the higher earners compared to a lot of the others. He is in the top bracket. I don't know, mate. I think there's a proper decision to be made with him. Because like I say, when he plays well, he looks really good. But this is probably the most fit he's been since we signed him. and there's been signs that he's a top player, but I don't know if
120. Apparently,
sorry?
He's on 120 grand. That's when he first came in. He's on the same wages as the Ox, though.
See, that's what I mean. If you get rid of them two, that's a lot of wages you're getting back on the books. For two players, well, Ox doesn't play ever, and Kate is obviously injury prone a lot. So I don't know. I think there's a decision to be made with Kate, and I think Jones could get a loan move potentially, or Elliott, just because they're not both going to get enough game time. Only one will.
Yeah.
So I think Oxford's defo gone. A decision to be made on Keita, and I think one of Jones or Elliott will probably go out on loan.
Do you reckon that means big summer in midfield? Do you reckon Tchouameni is the first of many coming in, Damon, or do you think this is our statement signing?
I was hoping at least two this summer, but I can't see it being more than Tchouameni, if I'm honest. I can't. I think we've got Curtis and then Harvey Elliott there, so like Jay said, one of them might go on loan. What do you guys see in Curtis Jones? As in, like, do you see it for the future?
Oh, don't ask me, Damon. I'm very, very biased. I think he's phenomenal.
I see. Would we bring him? Would we be looking at Bellingham and Tchouameni and players like that if Curtis Jones was that guy?
There's always,
I think he'd be a brilliant squad player. I think he'd be like
always get from rotation. Like, if you go and get Bellingham and you get Tchouameni, and even if you say go and get Joe Bellingham or you go and get another world class centre mid, then they can't play. Liverpool played 64 games this season. They can't play 64 games in a year. So players like Jones who are happy to pick up them spare minutes, they're vital in your squad as well.
Yes, I see him as a squad player like that. Really, I think he'll be, especially the longer he stays, the more experience he's getting in that dressing room. He's got some brilliant players to look up to in that dressing room, and it can't be a better club to learn. I think at the moment, a better manager to learn off. So yeah, I would see him as a squad player more than a first team. I just don't think he's got that quality of a first teamer in this Liverpool team. I don't. He's shown it in games like that Porto game in Champions League this season. He was unbelievable, wasn't he? I think man of match clear, but he doesn't do enough of that to really show to me like, oh, is he good enough to step up fully? That's why it's so important to bring more midfielders in now, because we're not going to have Thiago and Fabinho and Henderson much longer. They're all players, and then we're not having to rely on Jones and Elliott then to step up.
Before we go, Jay, quickly, just want to get your thoughts on this one. What about Dybala leaving Juve on a free? Would you snatch him up just for a few years?
No, not really, mate. He's a player I liked a couple of years ago, but like I said, it's hard to pick your front three now. You're going to add Dybala to that.
Yeah.
You know,
would you not come back maybe into the midfield just for his passing ability?
Dybala?
Yeah.
No, because then you're dropping Thiago. Do you know what I mean? If you bring in Tchouameni, I just don't see where he plays, mate. Good player. He's a very good player, and you know he is free, but I just don't see where he gets a game. And I think if anyone was to drop in the midfield, you've got Bobby Firmino, would be 10 times more suited to that than Dybala for his link-up play and his pressing. So, no, not for me, mate. Good player, but I just don't think it's the right move for us.
Yeah, perfect. We'll leave it there because I want to go and watch Rangers and Frankfurt in the Europa League. Interesting game, that. But nice one, Dave and Jay. If you are new around here, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe on the video. It helps us out loads. We stream almost every day, and loads of cool content coming out next week for the Champions League final, so you don't want to miss that. Yeah, nice one for watching, and don't forget to leave that like and subscribe.